All right, so we've got a question here about how to, excuse me, how to bid a big commercial church, and I believe the gentleman's name is Avi. I apologize if I didn't pronounce that right. But the question is, it's my very first commercial big church. I'm totally new to cleaning business, 13,000 square feet, and he gives some more details and wants to know what to charge. Wow. I appreciate, first of all, someone trying to reach out and get advice. I wish I had groups like this back in the day. But it is so irrelevant what other people would charge, and I'll show you in a minute what I mean by that. First of all, we work really, really hard in this industry, and most of us undercharge. Not just slightly undercharge, but undercharge a lot, right? And so when I see these questions about what would you charge and they give the scenarios, I understand that you're trying to be competitive and you don't want to over or underbid, but you're trying to be competitive with people who are charging too little. And so why do you want to compete to charge $1 less when you can learn how to charge 1,000 more, right? Plus what somebody else is going to charge is not relevant to what you need to accomplish to cover your expenses, your goals, your dreams, and build the ideal company that you want to build. So with that being said, let me kind of just dive in here and explain to you how the software can help you at Clean Proposals and how I would structure this bid. So you would just go here from the home screen and create proposal. I'm going to select from an existing prospect and add a proposal here. So we'll just call this a church demo. And we'll go and pick the facility type here of church. And I believe the frequency was once a week. All right. So we'll just say once a week and we'll add proposal. Now I'm going to skip a lot of this because this is kind of just where you build out your areas and cleaning tasks, pick the flooring types. So this is how you kind of would structure the proposal and get the, cleaning frequencies and everything that you need in here. And all of this information would just automatically feed into your proposal. So just in a matter of seconds, you can see how quickly we built out a scope of services here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to dive into the numbers and kind of break this down a little bit for you. So in the software at Clean Proposals, we have two options. We have a do-it-yourself calculator, which is the one I'm going to show you how to use. But if you're new to the industry or even experienced people, you're going to need a production rate. In other words, how long you think it's going to take you to clean, right? So just go into here to the automated price estimator, put in the square footage. I believe you said it was 13,000 square feet. And I'm going to just guess that the church is primarily carpet. I may be wrong, but I'm going to slide this over and say it's 70% carpet. Click next. You can fill this out here and put in your information and we'll give you a basic price. You can change your payroll taxes and the supplies, and then you can slide your profit margins up or down. And then the software will give you a price. This is so that you don't overbid or underbid, but that's really not what you want. What you really want is this production rate here, okay? Because in the do-it-yourself calculator, you're gonna get much more details and have a better pricing structure. So we'll take this production rate, we'll say it's almost 4 hours. I'm just gonna round up a little bit to 4.25 hours. So we'll have one person, and let's say we are at $18.50 because you don't pay minimum wage because you don't expect minimum wage, or you don't pay minimum because you don't expect minimum. Excuse me. And we're going to say 5 hours once a week. Okay. Oh, I forgot to do this. So what you need to do is click this gear icon, enter in any payroll taxes. Even if you don't have employees, you're cleaning yourself. At some point in time, you're not going to want to do the cleaning, right? Our job is to make sure that you are not cleaning. You're going to drop the mop and you're going to go from broom to boardroom. That's what we want you to do. So we're going to teach you how to bid, not like the company you are, but bid like the company you are going to be. And if you don't bid like the company you want to be, you'll never be there. All right. So you've got one custodian, $18.50 an hour, 5 hours. Remember, we got the production rate here. Actually, I went up too high, so I'm going to say 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours, 1 day a week. The software is going to break down your cost per clean, your annual cost, and your monthly cost. But this is just your frontline staff, the people who are going to be doing the regular cleaning. What you need as a basic structure for every proposal is you're going to need trainers. Oops. And the way we train at our company is we train our employees 3 days. So the first day they watch us clean. The second day we watch them clean. The third day we cut them loose and then we check on them near the end of the shift, make sure the janitor's closet is straight, all the lights are off, the building is secure, alarm is set, and that they've done everything properly. And the reason why we do it this way is that the first day they watch us clean, we can prove that everything in our scope of services can be done within the allotted time given, right? Because you want to make sure that they're not going outside of those clean times. And then the second day, we watch them to make sure they can hit our production rates, okay? And at the end of the training, we make them sign off on a cleaning checklist saying, I've been shown everything in this checklist and that I was shown that there's adequate time to clean everything safely and thoroughly. And then we make them sign that not only were they shown how to do it, but they did it themselves. So 3 months from now, when you come in and you've got a quality control inspector and they're saying, man, this place is looking horrible, or they're missing certain things, and you go back to the employee, one of the first things they like to say is, oh, I don't have enough time, right? Or, and they have this scope creep or something that happens to them to where they get off bases, and you can go, oh, remember this sheet where you watched us and we watched you? What's changed? And sometimes things have changed. There are scope creep things that the client has changed. So I go through the 4 Res, right? So we have to either retrain, retool, because sometimes you can get better equipment that gives them better efficiency. So we have to retrain, retool, or revisit the scope of service with the clients, because that does happen from time to time. Or we have to lastly replace the employee. So we go to the 4 Res when it comes to this the training here. So in this case, if we were using my methodology of how our staff trains, so we would have 4.5. So that's 8, 9 hours, and we'll say just 12 hours, actually 11 hours of training twice a year. Now we do twice a year because there is turnover in the industry, and you have to account for that cost directly to that building, just like cleaning supplies, right? It is no different. It is a direct cost directly to that building. Sometimes you get employees that stay there and they last for years. Sometimes you get employees and it seems like every other week you're having to turn that over. But somehow you have to start accounting for that cost in the structure for this particular building. And then the last thing that we want to add as our basic structure, you can add more things here, but we're going to have inspectors. And I always say we have inspectors because we inspect what we expect, right? And your inspector's last impression is your customer's first impression. So you really have to make sure that you have adequate inspections. And as a bare minimum, our company trains provides 1 inspection per month, a minimum of 1 hour. Of course, if the building's bigger, has higher needs, then this frequency goes up. But I'm just showing you the bare structure that you need on every proposal. So we'll say 1 hour once a month. We'll click save. Now, this is the structure that I have behind every successful bid. There's a reason why I can make thousands of dollars more to clean the exact same toilet with the exact same employee and the exact same toilet brush. Not only with my sales techniques with build, discover, highlight, and close in my sales formula, but you can also sell this to your customer. So I would actually cost this out, do it the way I'm doing here, and then I'll make a video showing my customer why we did what we did, and then I embed the video in the proposals, which you can do here. So now you see, Avi, that if you were to ask somebody, they'll tell you, oh, I charge 25 cents a square foot or 45 cents a square foot. I'll show you how that's irrelevant in just a moment. But none of that's really accounting for these items here. Plus, your payroll taxes are going to be different from someone else's, or could be different from someone else's. Your insurance is going to be different from someone else's. Your modifications and all that stuff are going to be different, and your overhead's going to be different. None of what somebody else is going to do is relevant to you specifically. So that's why I use this tool to make sure we cost it out correctly. Now, if you go down here, it says janitorial labor cost 3. That is your labor cost for these 3. So this is telling you that your labor for that particular structure is going to be $561.06. Then you're going to have additional expenses here. So you're going to have cleaning supplies, unless you're cleaning with air. Let's say you think it's going to be $25 a month. I always have a technology fee. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll see this, how I structure it out. Technology fee. And what that is I pass on the expenses of all the technology that we use to our customer, right? So any quality control, work orders, invoicing, accounting software, this software, Clean Proposals, I pass on some of that expense to our customer. And you get 5 or 6 customers and all of a sudden everybody's paying for your technology fees, right? Then you can put things like drive time or fuel, whatever you think it's going to be, cell phone reimbursements, whatever. So let's just say you think that's going to be $50 a month. Now the software is going to take and total all these up. So down here, your subtotal, you have $661.06. Now, you need to establish minimum profit margins, all right? I typically like to run at 30-35%. That doesn't always work for larger buildings. And in this case, I don't believe it's going to serve you well for smaller buildings. So you might want to go up. For larger buildings, 30% on a 1 million square foot building may be just way out of the ballpark, whereas, 12% might be more effective. But again, that's up to you. And you need to establish your minimums of your profit margin and minimums of what you're going to have as your revenue. So if you were to clean this building at 30% profit margin, the software is telling you that you're going to make $283.31, and this is your charge to your customer. But there's a lot more power in the software. Let's say you don't think that's enough. You can say, I want to make $500. I have a profit minimum of $500. I'm not going to step out of this building if I'm not making $500 a month. You put that in here and you can see that the software will reverse engineer that margin for you and then tell you your charge to your customer. And by the way, all of this is feeding in to the final step of the software. Okay. So you don't have to worry about that. Here's your cover letter and, different proposal themes that you can choose from. Everything's customizable. Let's go back to the numbers here. You can do it that way. Now, let's say you have a customer that just has a solid budget, right? And if you're doing the walkthroughs properly and you build, discover, highlight, and close, one of the things that you're going to discover is their budget, okay? So let's say you're working with somebody and say, what, I just, want to work with you. It's great, but I have a solid budget of $985. I just can't go above that. You can go in here and type it, and the software will tell you that if you had this labor and you were charging $985, this is how much money you would be making, and this is your profit margin. But I'm still not done with the power of Clean Proposals. So yes, I'm answering your question, and I'm pitching the software pretty hard. So you can put in your cleanable square footage here, and the software is telling you that you're charging 8 cents a square foot. Now, this is where all of this kind of comes together and gives you the answers that you kind of need. So when you're in these groups and you're asking these questions and somebody says 25 cents a square foot, yeah, you can just plug in 25 cents a square foot and it would give you a charge. As a matter of fact, you can do that here on the software. Watch this. Let's just back that out. And the software will reverse engineer and tell you what your profit margins are, what your revenue would be, and what you charge to your customer is. But if you were charging 25 cents a square foot and that's all you knew, right? Or somebody just gave you a price, you would have no idea what actual amount of money you're making, what your profit margins are, how many employees you can have, how long they would be working, what the frequency of their work would be, how much you're paying them. You don't know if you can afford trainers. You don't know if you have inspectors in there. You also don't know if you have your payroll taxes, insurance, or any overhead in there. So just learning to or getting information about what would you charge per square foot is completely irrelevant to what you really need to know. You've got to get that production rate, figure out how much time it's going to take, and then add the necessary structure to build a successful company. Because if you can't inspect what you expect, if you can't professionally train the people who have the keys to your clients' buildings, and you can't pay them adequate rates with enough time, your business is going to fail. And then if you can't learn how to sell it at a rate that's going to give you a decent profit margin, your business is going to fail. Right? So this is the magic that needs to happen in order to truly understand how to bid properly. And this applies to any commercial cleaning building. So hopefully I answered that question adequately to you, for you. Sorry the video's so long, but if you have any other questions, reach out to us at Clean Proposals, info@cleanproposals. You can leave a comment here. If you like the video, please subscribe, and I'll keep making more content-oriented videos. And I appreciate your time, guys. Clean Proposals, Rossi LeGrand signing out here.